Good morning, everyone. My name is Ankit, and sorry for the inordinate delay. It was due to logistical reasons. Now, in today's daily newspaper analysis, which we have on studyIQ's English channel, sharp at 10 a.m., we discuss three newspapers, that is the Hindu Indian Express and the Press Information Bureau website, from which we pick up articles to discuss. Now, today is 6th of December, and we are going to discuss these 7 articles which have appeared again in these 3 sources, and today we'll be discussing also one article from GS paper 1 syllabus which deals with 25 years of Hornbill festival, which is a festival of Nagaland. Now, after the session, like the usual, I will upload the notes on this particular Telegram channel. So subscribe to the channel if you still haven't, and with this, we start our today's discussion. The first article that we have taken has appeared in the Hindu newspaper, and it is written by the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Mr. M.K. Stalin. Now, the news article deals with states and the challenges before the Finance Commission. So, this news article is important from GS paper 2 syllabus. Now, Finance Commission, for those who you don't know, it is a constitutional body under Article 280 of the Indian Constitution. Now, this body is responsible for distribution of net proceed of taxes from union government to various state governments. Now, there are various nuances and issues related to this distribution, which we will be covering today. And this article, although was written from a perspective of Tamil Nadu's Chief Minister, but it is applicable to all the other states in the Indian Union. Now, before understanding the article, we need to know what is Finance Commission of India, that I have told you very briefly. Now, this Finance Commission of India consists of 5 persons, that is 1 chairman and 4 other members. Now, the Constitution designates the power to Parliament of India to determine what should be the qualifications of the members of Finance Commission. And in this regard, Parliament has given certain guidelines, that is the chairman of commission should be a person having experience in public affairs. Now, the 16th Finance Commission, which is currently under functioning, is headed by Mr. Arvind Pangaria. Now, Mr. Arvind Pangaria, if you remember, was the last chairman, deputy chairman of the Niti Aayog. Now, other members of the commission, one should be a judge of High Court, or he or she should be qualified to be appointed as the judge of High Court. Another person should be a person who has a specialized knowledge in the field of finance and accounts of the government. The third should be a person who has wide experiences in financial matters and in administration. On the other hand, the fourth person should be a person who has special knowledge of economics. So, all these conditions that are applicable on the members, you can understand, should be related to financial or economic matters. Okay. Now, let us understand what this Finance Commission actually does. That it recommends to the President of India on certain matters. The first is that it recommends the distribution of net proceed of taxes. Now, what is this net proceed of taxes? Now, the total tax which is collected by the union government, it is called as gross tax revenue. Now, from this gross tax revenue, we minus cess and surcharge, and then also we deduct the cost of collection of revenue. So, from gross tax revenue, we deduct these two incidentals, and then we come to what is called as net proceed of taxes. And the Finance Commission recommends a certain percentage of net proceeds of taxes, they should be given to state governments in Indian Union. Also, it determines the allocation between the states of respective share of such proceeds, that if states A should get how much money, state B should get how much money. And the Finance Commission, it also recommends on the principle that should govern grant in aid which is given to the states by union government out of consolidated fund of India. Now this is given under the Article 275 of the Indian Constitution. And the Commission, it also measures what is needed to augment the consolidated fund of any state to supplement, that is to give resources to panchayats and municipalities which are local bodies from the state revenue based on the recommendations made by respective state finance commission. So there is a state finance commission, there's a finance commission at the union level, and there's another independent finance commission which exists at state level. Now the responsibilities of the state finance commission is very similar to union finance commission, but the state finance commission recommends share of proceeds of taxes to local bodies, and this is done from the state government's exchequer. Now it also discusses any matter which is referred to it by the President of India in interest of sound finances, and these are referred by the President in form of terms of references. So this is the main function of Finance Commission of India. So let us come to the today's article, that what is the critical challenge in front of Finance Commission. Now before understanding this critical challenge, we also need to know one thing. I told you, right, there is a union government which collects lot of amount of taxes. Now some of the taxes of union government, which is called as a net proceed, it is shared with the state governments. So these are the state governments. Now this transfer of money from union level to state level is called as vertical devolution. Understood? Whereas allocation of funds between various states, that is among themselves, it is called as an example of horizontal devolution. Understood? So these are the two examples. From union to states, it is called as a vertical devolution, and between the states, it is called as a horizontal devolution. Understood? Now the article written by Mr. M.K. Stalin, he highlights that the Finance Commission faces certain critical challenges, and the first challenge is striking a balance between equitable distribution, that is every state should get money which it requires for itself, and for that matter poorer state should get more money. This is what equitable distribution is all about. It is not equal distribution, it is equitable distributions, that poor gets more and rich gets less. But the article also says that while doing or striking a balance with equitable distribution, the Finance Commission should also incentivize growth in high performing states. And the logic is that because of growth in this high performance states, India's total GDP is increasing, and also these states contribute a lot to taxes such as corporate taxes and personal income taxes. So you need to give more money to poor states, but also you need to incentivize the rich states into growing more and more. So this is a critical challenge which is faced by Finance Commission. Now another challenge is that union government in recent times have been levying a lot amount of cess and surcharge. Now why this levy of cess and surcharge, which is a special form of direct tax, it is a key issue here, because as I've already highlighted in previous slide, that whatever union collects as cess and surcharge, it is not distributed with the state governments. So you exclude cess and surcharge from the gross tax revenue, and from that we calculate net tax revenue. That is why whenever there is a larger piece of pie under cess and surcharge, so the less amount of money is available in form of net proceeds, and thereby less amount of money is shared to the states. So the article highlights that this pie, that is cess and surcharge, should be reduced in order to make the finance commission transfers more effective and equitable. Now, because of increased reliance on cess and surcharge, we have seen that there is an effective decline in devolution. Now, if you remember, the 15th Finance Commission, it recommended 41% of devolution of net proceed of taxes to states. However, because of over-reliance on cess and surcharge by the union government, the effective transfers, that is effective devolution to states, is not 41%, rather it is 33.1%. So, this has been the challenge which the Finance Commission faces. Now, we need to understand what the states such as Tamil Nadu and other developed states actually want. And this is regarding to two aspects of devolution. First is vertical devolution, that is devolution from union to state government, right? Now, in case of vertical devolution, the states, they want that the states, they bear developmental expenditures, be it expenditures on education, health, or construction of rural roads. All of this are under the exclusive responsibility of state governments, and states are spending more and more these days on developmental expenditures, and because of that their total governmental expenditures have also increased. And they also are contributing towards centrally sponsored scheme, that is usual states contribute in the ratio of 60 to 40, which is 60% of the funds for centrally sponsored scheme, they are provided by the union government, whereas 40% of the funds are contributed by the state governments. Whereas in the lesser developed or Himalayan states, the sharing ratio is 90:10, that is 10% contributed by lesser developed states. Now, because of these two expenditures, that is on developmental expenditures and sharing of finances of centrally sponsored scheme, the expenditures of the state government have increased manifold in recent years. And that is why the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister in his article has highlighted that there needs to be an increase in vertical devolution from 41% to 50% of net proceeds of taxes. Now, let us consider horizontal distribution, that is the distribution between or among various states. Now, the Finance Commission recommends this horizontal distribution based on 6 factors, that is income distance, population, area, total area under the state government, forest cover, demographic performance, as well as tax efforts by the states. Now, these are the 6 factors which is considered by the union government, Finance Commission. And the article highlights that progressive resource allocation methodology of performing states should be altered. That is currently the highest weightage which is considered by Finance Commission to undertake horizontal devolution. The highest weightage is 45% given to income distance, whereas other parameters such as tax efforts as well as demographic performance, they are very less, that is 2.5% and 12.5%. So, that is sum total of 15%. So, the weightage given to tax and demographic performance is 3 times less given to that of income distance, and this is where the poorer states such as states located in northern belt, they get more funds from the Finance Commission in form of horizontal distribution. And this is a cause of concern for more developed state located in the southern part of the country, that we are making all the efforts to collect money and the Finance Commission is providing that very money to the poorer states, which in a way is an unjust, according to the southern states, it is an unjust method. So, that is why they want a progressive resource allocation methodology which should consider both equitable distribution and incentivizing growth to high performing states. Now, this article also highlights certain unique challenges in the progressive states. First of all, that these states, they are witnessing low population growth, and because of that the median age is higher when compared to other parts of the country. That is, the people living in southern states, they are progressively older than people living in northern states and northeastern states. And because of that, these states are generating low consumption based tax revenue, which has again diminished their revenue generating capacities. Further, these states are incurring cost which is incurred in supporting an aging population. That is, this population needs geriatric care, more health care, social security benefits again, which requires money to be transferred by the state governments. So this has increased their spending. Also, the states are witnessing rising urbanization. That is, by 2031, India's urbanization level will reach 37%. On the other hand, it is expected that Tamil Nadu will witness urbanization at the levels of 57%. So all this rising urbanization in more developed states requires large amount of infrastructure growth and connectivity, which again requires state government to spend more money. So in summary, the article highlights that southern states have more expenditures in line of lower consumption based revenue, cost in supporting aging population and driving urban growth. However, due to recent trends such as levy of cess and surcharge and more funds given to poorer states, their net share in proceeds of taxes have reduced. So they are demanding more money from Finance Commission. Understood? Now we move to another article of the day. Sorry, before that, we'll solve the practice question. Now, this practice question appeared in the prelims of the year 2023. Consider the following: demographic performance, forest ecology, governance reforms, stable government, tax and efforts. Now, for horizontal tax devolution, that is devolution between the states, the 15th Finance Commission used how many of the above criteria other than population area and income distance? Now, we'll see a screenshot which I have taken from the Finance Commission website, and it highlights these 6 factors. So if you look at this very options, governance reforms and stable government are incorrect because they are not mentioned here, whereas demographic performance, forest and ecology, as well as tax effort are mentioned here. That is why option B is the right answer, because 3 options are here correct. Now we move to another article of the day, which again appeared in page 10 of the Indian Express newspaper, and this article is written by a former diplomat, Mr. Rajiv Bhatia. Now if you remember, last month, Prime Minister Modi visited 3 nations, that is Nigeria, Brazil as well as Guyana. And this article beautifully summarizes the visit and gives key points. So we'll be understanding and analyzing this article, which is important from GS paper 2 syllabus, because this very paper has the portion of international relations. Now in this paper also, India's bilateral relations with important nations is important, and that is why this article we are analyzing. Now again, Prime Minister visited 3 countries. The first stop in that visit was the country called Nigeria, which is located in West Africa. Now, Nigeria is an important exporter of crude oil, and India in previous years have relied on Nigeria to source their crude oil requirement, and India depends on imports for as much as 85% of its total crude oil need. So that is why Nigeria as a economic source of crude oil is an important country. But Nigeria also has other benefits. That is, it is Africa's most populous nation, and India will want to export its products into a most populous nation of Africa to gain more and more exports. Further, it is 4th largest economy in the African continent. Now, in recent times, Nigeria is increasing its international heft. How? It was invited by India in its G20 summit last year, and also Nigeria has been invited to become a partner nation in BRICS summit. Now, India and Nigeria, they are natural partners. And why am I saying that? Because they are democratic countries which are multi-religious, multi-ethnic, as well as multilinguistic. And this characteristic is shared by both India and Nigeria. Now, Nigeria appreciates India's economic and political influence, and because of this appreciation, you can see Prime Minister Modi was awarded the highest civilian award of Nigeria. Now, Nigeria is a key beneficiaries of India's developmental assistance and human resource related developmental programs, which India undertakes with other developing countries, as India trains their personnel for defense related work, for IT sector, for manufacturing activities, and even in agricultural sector. Now, the potential of this relation exists particularly in expanding bilateral cooperation in new areas, be it agriculture, because India is a big or a large manufacturer of agricultural products, both food grains and horticultural products. Urban transportation, where India can provide its knowledge, expertise in metro systems or setting up of metro tracks. And also, India is witnessing large-scale installation of renewable energy, particularly solar energy. So, this is where Nigeria as a tropical country comes into play, because it can also be a member of International Solar Union, and also India can help Nigeria in digital transformation, which you already know that India is a country which has developed digitally in the recent past, be it government's Digital India program or setting up of payment systems such as UPI or ID systems such as Aadhaar. And expertise of India in these areas can be shared with Nigeria for its own development, and this is where both of these nations have a synchronization. Understood. Now, second stop of Prime Minister Modi was the country of Brazil, which is located in Latin America or South America. Now, Prime Minister Modi went there not for a bilateral visit, but to attend the 19th summit of G20 grouping. Now, this last year happened in India, and that was 18th summit, and 19th summit was scheduled in Brazil. Now, the Rio Declaration, which was a document shared after the G20 meeting, highlighted three priorities of the grouping. First was social inclusion. That is, the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty was launched in this very meeting, and it will serve as a platform for mobilizing finance and knowledge sharing on a wide scale. Now, why is India's role important in this regard? Because if you can recall, India runs world's largest public distribution system program, where it distributes free food grain to almost 66% of India's population, that is as much as 80 crore people. Also, G20 agreed upon sustainable development. However, it failed to make any headway on climate finance. Now, climate finance is a touchy topic across the world, and there has been many roadblocks or hurdles in achieving key desirable goals of climate financing, and that is why there was no significant headway. The third point was reform of global governance institution. Now, it took adoption of roadmap for bigger, better and more effective multilateral development banks. Now, the most important two multilateral development banks are World Bank as well as International Monetary Fund, and these banks more or less functions according to whims and fancies of United States of America. And this has been a major cause of concern for other developing countries, that although these bodies provide financing, but they provide financing based on certain conditionalities which is imposed on the beneficiary countries like India. Now, Prime Minister Modi and Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar met several world leaders in this summit also, most important of which was Mr. Jaishankar's meeting with the Chinese Finance Minister. And it is a developmental or important development because of the recent agreement between India and China for border de-escalation. Now, the third stop was a very small country called Guyana, which does not even have population of 1 million people. That is, it has population of less than 10 lakh. Now, although it has quite a less amount of population, but 40% of the population of country is of Indian origin. Now, Guyana, if you don't know, is rich in energy resources, particularly because in recent times it was estimated that this country has 11 billion barrel worth of crude oil deposits, which can be successfully extracted. Now, India is a key importer again of crude oil, so Guyana's good relations with Guyana's make sense. Now, Prime Minister Modi also proposed 7 pillars to deepen cooperation, which are usual: agriculture and food security, technology, trade, cricket and culture, as well as ocean economy, medicine and healthcare. Now, why is this cooperation important? Because India is providing Guyana with vaccines, with medicines, with medical devices, and it is also supplying Guyana's armed forces with planes and guns. So, this was the brief discussion on the article. We move to another article in the Indian Express now, and this appeared in the explained section of Indian Express, and it says that the prices of potato in state of Odisha has risen a lot. Now, this article explores the reason, which we will look on to in the next slide. Now, this is important from GS paper 3 syllabus, and subject or questions related to food inflation was asked in this year's mains examination. That is why it is an important topic as far as mains examination as well as prelims examination are concerned. Now, the prices of potato has risen so much that even people like Don Uday Shetty are forced to sell potatoes to make their living. Now, why is prices of potato rising? The reason for which are many. But before understanding how much prices of potatoes have risen, we need to understand how much does India produce. Now, for potato, India is world's second largest producer, and it is world's second largest producer after China. In past 3 decades, the area under cultivation of potato has risen by 2 times, that is from 11 to 22 lakh. Whereas the production has increased by amount of 5 times, from 181.95, sorry, this is 3 times, from 181.95 to 561 million metric ton. Now, in terms of productivity, India has witnessed 50% increase in productivity from 16 to 25 million tons per hectare. That is, the yield of potato crop on an average in India is 25 million metric ton. Now, potato primarily is grown during Rabi seasons in states such as Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. Now, it is important to note that the largest producer of potato is Uttar Pradesh, primarily in areas nearby the district of Agra, which is India's potato belt. Now, the second largest is West Bengal. Now, put together, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal, they are responsible for as much as 50% of potato production in the country, that is Uttar Pradesh as well as West Bengal. Now, potato is also grown in small quantities during the Kharif season, that is during the monsoon period, in Himalayan states such as Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, as well as southern states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Now, why is the prices of onion rising? There are many reasons to that. First of all, let us understand why is prices rising in Odisha. Now, Odisha, if you know, is a major consumer of potato like every Indian state, but it is not a producer of potato. Why? Because potato requires 15 to 25 degrees centigrade for optimum growth, which is not the agroclimatic condition of Odisha. That is why potatoes don't grow there, and rather Odisha sources its potato from states such as West Bengal. Now, last year the production of potatoes witnessed a drop by 5.6%. But what was the reason for the drop in production of potatoes? There were one reason, that is the prices were low last year. Now, in agricultural, there is a phenomena called cobweb phenomena. That means the prices of any agricultural commodity rises or changes with a certain lag. And why there is a certain lag, I'll tell you why. Now, the prices of potatoes were low last year. You understand this, right? So, because the prices were low, less amount of farmers planted potato last year. And when this crop harvested, we witnessed low amount of supply of potato. Because less supply of potato, less amount of potatoes were grown. So, this low supply of potato resulted in increase in prices of potato. Now, this increase in prices will encourage more and more farmers to grow potatoes, which means after in next season when this potato crops are harvested, there will be increase in supply of potato, which again will reduce the prices of potato. So, this is a cycle or vicious cycle which the farmers are under, and it is because the production of a crop takes place after some time. That is, you need to sow the crop and after some time only the crops will harvest. And this is why the prices are low last year, and because of that the nationwide prices have increased this year because of this very cobweb reason. Understood? So, this is why there are the reasons of increase in prices of potato. And we move to next article of the day, which appeared, another practice question with reference to potato cultivation in India. Consider the following statements. Potato, it can be cultivated both as a Kharif and Rabi crop. It is correct, as I have already highlighted here, that they are grown in both Rabi season and in Kharif season. Now, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal alone, they account for nearly half of the potato production. Again correct, because I have said so in the last slide. Now, the third statement, in the last 3 decades, while the production of potato has increased, the area under potato cultivation has decreased. So, is it a correct statement? Let us see. The answer is no, because both area as well as production of potato has increased by 2 times and 3 times respectively. So, the third statement here is incorrect, and the correct answer to this practice question is option A, because 1 and 2 are correct. So, we move to another article which again appeared in the explained section, and it is written by Harish Damodaran. Now, Harish Damodaran's article in Indian Express are very important because he writes brilliant articles on agricultural sector. Now, this article, it is relevant from GS paper 3 syllabus, and it explains the prospects of upcoming Rabi crop, as Rabi season is currently underway. Now, this article says that the good monsoon and a possibility of an extended winter from La Nina, it offers hope for a bumper harvest in Rabi season, and this will lead to a robust farm sector growth. But this is not the case. There are some worries too, which we will understand in this slide. Now, let us start with what are the worries or concerns related to Rabi production. Now, there were higher temperatures in the month of October from when the Rabi season begins. Now, because of higher temperatures in the month of October, we witnessed rise in temperatures, and it led to low amount of soil moisture. Now, as there was low amount of soil moisture, farmers rather preferred to delay their sowing of seeds, and when the seeds were sowed, it led to germination and bacterial infestations also. So, this was the cause related to higher temperatures in October. Also, India witnessed shortage in DAP, that is diammonium phosphate fertilizers, which is a key source for phosphorus, as this fertilizer supplies 46% of phosphorus needed for the crop. Now, why is there a shortage of DAP fertilizer? Let us take a look at this table which I have borrowed from the article. Now, the stocks of urea, MOP, SSP, you have seen they have risen in past 1 year, and urea, whereas let us see DAP, that is diammonium phosphate, its stock has reduced from 17.69 to 11.52 ton. And because of this very change, or this very shortage of DAP, which is essential for root development and establishment, farmers again prefer to delay their sowing of crops. And because there was slow start of planting of wheat, mustard, chickpea and masoor, which are important Rabi crops in our country. So this was the key area of concern that the article highlights. Now there's also a brighter side. First of all, that India witnessed a great monsoon this year, and because of that, India has abundant water supplies which is stored in dams as well as aquifers. Also, there was this hope for normal winter, and there is also an expectation that the La Nina event, which is an abnormal cooling of Eastern Pacific coastline, it can lead to development and persistence of winter, which can continue even in later months of 2025. So because of this, there is a chance that India will witness higher amount of rainfall and colder temperatures, which is conducive for growth of Rabi crops. And colder temperatures in month of March will also lead to high yield, especially in crops such as wheat. Also, there is a moderation of food inflation in India because food inflation in recent times is a cause of concern. However, excepting potato, which is witnessing low amount of production due to higher temperatures and shortage of DAP fertilizers, wheat, which the stocks of which with the government have reduced, and also edible oils, because India imports most of its, or as much as 66% of edible oil from foreign countries. Now, the most important supplier of edible oil is Indonesia, which is a key supplier of palm oil. Now, the supplies of palm oil is expected to reduce because Indonesia has increased the blending levels of palm oil with that of diesel fuel. So because of that, the supply of palm oil will reduce in the global market, thereby pushing the prices of edible oil, especially palm oil, up. So this was the reason, that is, there is a moderation in food inflation except these three commodities. Now we move to another article from the Indian Express, which appeared in the page 9 or also in the Hindu newspaper, that is page 14. Now this news article reports that the ISRO, which is India's space research organization, has launched 2 satellites belonging to European Space Agency using the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, abbreviated commonly as the PSLV. Now questions on important launch vehicles, especially PSLV and GSLV, have been asked by UPSC before. So we expect this topic to be very important from UPSC 2025 perspective. Okay, now let us know more about this launch vehicle, which is the launch vehicle and acts as a workhorse of ISRO, and it has been working since the year of 1994. Now, this launch vehicle was primarily developed to launch remote sensing satellites into sun synchronous orbits. What is sun synchronous orbits? I told you yesterday that any satellite revolving in this orbit will photograph a particular spot on Earth exactly at the same time every day, which is essential for qualities such as remote sensing. Now, this satellite launch vehicle has been further upgraded to enable it to launch small scale satellites into higher geostationary transfer orbits also, because from this orbit what we ensure that any launch vehicle can be transferred into the geostationary orbit, which is used for communication satellites. Now this is a 4-stage rocket which uses an alternate combination of both liquid and solid fuel stages. Pay close attention, first and third stage of this rocket is fueled by solid fuels, whereas second and fourth are propelled by liquid fuels. Now from the image, you can see there are this attachment to the launch vehicle, which are strap motors. Now these strap motors are used to provide additional thrust to the rockets or strap-on motors, and they are used in the first stage of GSLV, but you do not count these strap-on motors as a stage in the launch vehicle. They are used to provide additional thrust. And why any rocket would need additional thrust? Because to overcome the air resistance and gravity in the atmosphere in order to be launched into orbit. Now this PSLV can deliver payloads up to 3250 kilogram into low Earth orbit. However, to go higher up in the atmosphere, the payloads reduce to 1600 and 1400 for sun synchronous as well as geosynchronous transfer orbits. But I told you this acts as a workhorse as it is a very significant launch vehicle. Why? Because it has gained credibility as a leading provider of rideshare services to smaller satellites. Because back in 2017, it created a record for launching more than 100 satellites into atmosphere, which was only broken in the year 2021 by Falcon rocket of SpaceX. Now, the notable payloads of this launch vehicle has been India's first mission to moon, that is Chandrayaan. Even Chandrayaan 2 and 3, the components of which was launched by PSLV itself, whereas PSLV also was used to send an interplanetary mission to Mars called Mars Orbiter Mission, otherwise popularly called as Mangalyaan. It was also used to launch AstroSat as well as Aditya L1 mission, which was launched quite recently. Now, based on this information, let us again solve a practice question on PSLV. Consider the following statements regarding PSLV. First is that PSLV is capable of launching satellites only into sun synchronous orbits. No, it is incorrect. As I have told you here, because of various updates made to this launch vehicle, it can send payloads even into geosynchronous transfer orbit, which is even higher than sun synchronous orbit. Now, the second statement, it has been used to launch interplanetary missions like Mars Orbiter mission or Mangalyaan. It is correct. As well as the third statement, PSLV's fourth stage launch vehicle powered entirely by solid fuel. Is it correct? No, because it is powered by a mix of both solid fuel stages as well as liquid fuel stages. So, which of the statement given above is or are correct? As only second statement here is correct, that is why option B here is the right answer. Now, we move to another article of the day which appeared yesterday in the PIB, that is Press Information Bureau. Now, this article reports that over 30.43 crores of unorganized workers have been registered on eShram platform. Now, this eShram platform is a platform by Ministry of Labour and Employment, and the objective of making this platform was to create a national database of unorganized worker. Now, who are unorganized worker or informal workers? They are workers who do not have a fixed pay for anywhere they work, or rather they are paid according to their work based on the organizations they are employed with. Also, as against formal workers, these informal or unorganized workers are not eligible to get social security and other employment related benefits, and this condition makes them quite vulnerable. The most common unorganized workers that you see these days are workers employed by platforms such as Swiggy as well as Zomato, that are the delivery boys you see. They are unorganized workers that they are paid by these platforms based on the number of deliveries they conduct. Okay. Now, this portal was designed to provide these unorganized workers with social security benefits and streamlining the government welfare schemes, that all these schemes will be available on the platform, and the workers, they only need to register themselves on the platform to be eligible for such benefits which are already provided to them by the government. So, it makes the process of social security benefits and their provision quite easier for unorganized workers. Now, let us understand the key features of this portal also, that first of all, it is a national database, a centralized system which can track and register all the unorganized workers in the country. This data will help first of all government to understand the extent of unorganized workforce and also understand or estimate the amount of money they will be needing to provide them with social security benefits. Also, the portal provides them with unique ID card called eShram card, which the workers received with their unique identification number upon their registration. Now, this unique identification number is used by many workers to register themselves under the benefits provided by Employee Provident Fund Organization, or EPFO. Now, this portal does not cost anything for the unorganized workers, that is, it provides them registration free of cost, and the eligibility of workers is between 16 to 59 years of age, as well as the ones who are not covered under any existing EPFO, ESIC benefits or they are not a taxpayer in the country. So, these are the people who are eligible to be registered as an unorganized worker in the eShram platform. Now, what are the benefits that are provided to the workers through this very platform? That is, it provides them registration to the National Career Service Platform, which provides for job opportunities to the workers, and it also integrates them with Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, which is a pension scheme for unorganized workers aged between age 18 to 14 years and having a monthly income of less than 15,000 rupees. Now, under this scheme, the beneficiaries will be eligible for a monthly pension of 3,000 rupees after they attain their age of 60 years. Now, the funding of this scheme is not entirely made by the government, rather only 50% of the contribution of the scheme is borne by Government of India and the rest is contributed by the worker themselves. Now, this portal also captures family details of migrant workers, which is essential to extend benefits such as public distribution system as well as one nation, one ration cards benefit, which makes workers eligible to get food free of cost at their place where they work, and family living in another part of a country can also get their share of food using one nation, one ration card. Also, this eShram platform provides a skill enhancement and apprenticeship opportunities to workers under the Skill India digital portal, and it also integrates itself to My Scheme portal, which is a platform for government to demonstrate its scheme, and it promotes search and discovery even among unorganized workers. Now, this Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, the question on this very scheme was asked in this year's prelims examination, that is 2024. So, let us solve that question also. Consider the following statements regarding Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan scheme. It is a voluntary and contributory pension scheme for workers in the organized sector. This is a straightforward statement and is a correct statement. The second statement, the government, they contribute 100% of their monthly premium for all enrolled beneficiary. Now, this is incorrect because I highlighted in the last slide, government only contributes how much? 50% of the contribution. Rest is made by the workers themselves. The third statement, workers aged between 16 to 59 years with a monthly income of rupees 15,000 or less are eligible to join this scheme. So, is workers between 16 to 59 eligible under this scheme? No, it is 18 to 40 years. So, the third statement also is incorrect. Now, pay close attention to the wordings of this scheme. Which of these statements given above is or are incorrect? That is, you have to identify incorrect statements. Okay. So, second and third statements were incorrect. That is why option C here is the right answer. Now, we move to the last article of the day, which again appeared in the PIB, and here the article highlights that Prime Minister has congratulated the people of Nagaland for completion of 25 years of Hornbill Festival. So, we will take into a look what is this Hornbill Festival of the state of Nagaland. Now, these are the dances which are conducted in the festival of Hornbill, and you can see the warriors who are dressed with a hornbill feather in their caps. So, Hornbill Festival, which takes its name from a bird called great hornbill. It is referred to as festivals of festival and is the most iconic cultural event in Nagaland. Now it is named after the revered hornbill bird, and it showcases the culture, heritage, food and customs of Naga tribes and people from. And in this festival, people belonging to all 17 Naga tribes, they participate together and celebrate their tradition with colorful dance performances. Now, as in this previous image, you can see the warriors here, they are dressed in full ceremonial attire and they perform traditional dances, and their attire is adorned with distinctive headgear decorated with hornbill feathers. So, hornbill bird itself is an integral part of Nagaland's society, and they bear boar tusk and colorful woven sashes. Now let us also understand about the bird called great hornbill, and the habitat of this bird is primarily the evergreen and moist deciduous forest, which is inhabiting the canopy of tall trees. So they are inhabiting areas where there are tall trees and not short trees. Okay. Also, the legal status of this bird is that it is classified as a vulnerable species under the IUCN's Red List, and it is protected under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act of the year 1972. The areas in which these birds are found are Western Ghats as well as Himalayas, and additionally they are designated as a state bird of Arunachal Pradesh and Kerala. They are not state birds of Nagaland. Rather, they are state bird of Arunachal and Kerala. Also, India is home to 9 hornbill species, and northeastern region in the country where Nagaland is exhibits the highest diversity of the species of hornbill. Understood? So, this is the hornbill bird that I was talking about, and with this information we also solve a practice question. Consider the following statements regarding great hornbill. The great hornbill is a state bird of Nagaland. It is incorrect because the state bird of Nagaland is called Blythe's tragopan and not hornbill. The second statement, it is classified as endangered under the IUCN Red List due to habitat loss and hunting. It is incorrect. It is classified as vulnerable and not endangered. So both of these statements here are incorrect. That is why option D is the right answer to this practice question. So with this, I conclude our today's session of daily newspaper analysis by studyIQ IAS. And as usual, you can access the notes on this particular Telegram channel. The link is here as well as the QR code is here. You can either click on the link or you can scan the QR code for the notes. So this was all from my side from today. I will see you again tomorrow sharp at 10 AM. Until then, I wish you a very good